A convicted terrorist has won a legal case against the UK's Ministry of Justice over his unlawful imprisonment in the prison segregation unit. Can you believe this, people? A terrorist who's been held in the segregation unit has won a legal case against the UK's Ministry of Justice. Now, the terrorist in question is Sahayb Abu, and I'm going to go over exactly who he is, but I'm going to tell you the reasons why he was held in the segregation department to start with. Now, this was all to do with him being on the separation centres inside of the high security prisons. Now, I'm going to tell you exactly what a separation centre is before I tell you the reason he was put into the segregation unit. So the separation centre inside of the high security prison is for terrorists who have either been radicalising the other inmates or who are at risk because there's evidence that they might or they will radicalise the other inmates. And the inmates that are put on the separation centre aren't put on there easily. They are a small minority out of the high security estate who are extremists and who are at risk of turning other prisoners or converting other prisoners and giving them extreme ideologies. Now, this particular inmate, Sahayb Abu, who's serving life with a minimum of 19 years, was on the separation centre up inside of HMP Franklin. Now, like I say, it's not taken lightly for these type of prisoners to get put on the separation centre. There's a lot of paperwork and a lot of rigmarole to go through so they can justify putting said prisoners on there. Even though they're in for terrorism offences, there's quite a range of prisoners in for terrorism offences who don't end up on this separation or these separation centres. But the ones that are tried to radicalise the other inmates, then they're taken out of mainstream population and put on the separation centre. So for me, they shouldn't be put on a separation centre to start with. They should immediately be took out of mainstream prison and put in the segregation unit. If they are at risk or if they are actively trying to radicalise other inmates, get fucking rid and put them in the block. Put them in the segregation unit. Don't house them all together, because this is what they do. The likes of Sahayb Abu, who I'm going to talk about, and the likes of him, Sahayb Abu, they are all housed together. And I've spoke about this previously. If you take 6 armed robbers, put them all on a unit together, what are they going to talk about and what are they going to plan for the future? Let's have a guess. Armed robberies. You take 6 terrorists, 6 extremist Islamists, put them on a unit together. They're already in for terrorism offences. Let's have a little think about this one. What are they going to do? What are they going to plot? And what are they going to come up with together? More terrorist offences. Radicalise more inmates. It doesn't take a genius to figure this out. Anyways, these have been on the separation centre together inside of HMP Franklin. And guess what happened in April of this year? Sahayb Abu attacked the prison officers, thrown hot cooking oil over them, and then he stabbed 3 prison officers with improvised blades. And the officers were in serious conditions, taken to hospital. Luckily, they recovered from their injuries. They didn't die from them because, like I've spoke about this previously, as much as people have thoughts and opinions on prison officers, They do not deserve to lose their lives inside of prison, especially at the hands of terrorists. So this is why Sahayb Abu has then been taken from the separation centre and held in the segregation unit. Now, all of the radicals, shall we say, and the terrorists that were held there at the time, there was a handful of them, about 6 of them. Obviously, Hasham Abedi being, shall we say, the ringleader, the one that done the attacks. He was immediately shipped out to Belmarsh prison and put, or where was he put? He was put with Axel Ruda-Cabana in the separation block down there, down the unit. How fucking ludicrous is that? What's him and Axel going to be concocting? Oh, I forgot to mention, Axel went on to attack some screws not long after that. Didn't take a genius to work that one out either, did it? So it doesn't take a genius to figure out why the screws and the governors put Sahayb Abu in the block, in the segregation unit inside of HMP Franklin. But what puzzles me is the fact that he wasn't in there for 4 months before this was up in front of the High Courts. This is fucking ludicrous. How did he manage to get his legal team to get him up in front of the High Court's judges within 4 months, challenge the case and win it? And the reason why I'm saying this as well, I know lads, and I know someone who's in Franklin Block now, who's been in there for nearly 3 years. He has trouble with the extremists. He has trouble with the radical Muslims in the high security estate. He got slashed in one of the prisons. They tried to attack him. So he's went to attack them back. So what did the screws do? The governors rather, because it's not up to the screws, but the governors shipped him out from Strangeways prison and stuck him in Franklin Block. He was attacked first. He's retaliated. Nobody else has been injured the way he has. They've tried to stab him up. He's been sent to Franklin Block, and guess what? Nearly 3 years later, or maybe 3 years, he's still there. So how the fuck does this extremist terrorist have his case up in front of the High Court within 4 months and win it, when the partner of this said individual who's in Franklin prison has been petitioning, been getting loads of people to speak up about it, trying to go to MPs and everything, and nothing has been done. He's not being kept down there as a punishment. They're keeping him down there in case he retaliates against these said prisoners inside the high security estate. So how come when his legal team and his partner have been trying to get something done about this case, not just this one, there's individuals up and down the high security estate being kept in the segregation centres for the same reasons. They've got trouble with the Muslim gangs, and because these lads that have got trouble with them are fucking gangsters, they're in there serving some of them life sentences, some of them big sentences. They don't give a shit. If they get put on the wing with them, it'll go off. But the screws know this and the governors know this, so they're keeping them in the segregation unit. But they're not down there as a punishment because they haven't done anything wrong. They're down there in case they do anything to these other prisoners on the wing. So how can it be one rule for one, excuse me, and one rule for another? But I'm going to get into who he is. Sahayb Abu. In one of the articles that I'm reading here, it says, would-be rap star jailed for ISIS-inspired terror plot. So this was in 2021, during COVID, or this was when he was sentenced, and this is when he was given life with a minimum of 19 years. And he's not just any Walter Mitty. It's a serious ISIS terrorist who could have inflicted many deaths on the UK citizens. And he's in the fucking segregation unit, rightly so. He should be kept in there his entire sentence. So I'm just going to read out what it says in these articles here. So an East London man who called himself the Masked Menace was jailed for life for plotting a terror attack during the coronavirus pandemic. Islamic State supporter Sahayb Abu bought an 18-inch sword, a knife, balaclavas and body armour online. The 27-year-old from Dagenham was arrested July that year after discussing guns with an undercover police officer. He will serve a minimum of 19 years after being found guilty of preparing an act of terrorism. He had told Jews at the Old Bailey that he bought the items to make a parody video because he wanted to create a rap character that would make people cry with laughter. Absolute BS. Abu said he wanted to become a successful rapper like Stormzy. He said the name of his persona was the Masked Menace and that he hoped to get famous through his music. Abu was previously convicted of commercial burglary in June 2018 and served his sentence at Wandsworth and Highdown jails alongside inmates convicted of terrorism charges. So I wonder what they were discussing for him to go on to do this whilst he was, or after his release. So when he was released, it was less than 4 months before his arrest. He met undercover officer who was commended by Judge Mark Dennis on a Telegram chat group for supporters of the Islamic State. His brother Mohammed Abu, 32, of Norwood, South London, was cleared of failing to tell authorities about the plot. Sahayb, listen to this one. Sahayb is one of several extremist siblings from the same London family. In 2015, two younger half-brothers, Wael and Suleiman Awis, went to Syria to join the Islamic State group and are believed to have been killed in the fighting. Very serious if you ask me, going over to do that fucking fighting. And unfortunately for them, they didn't come back. In 2018, another half-brother, Ahmed, and half-sister, Asma, and her partner were jailed for terror offences, including sharing Islamic State material in a family chat group. What a lovely fucking London family, yeah? Also, in 2018, another half-sister was stopped trying to leave the UK with several children using another person's identification documents. The youngest half-brother, a teenager, was also in a group chat in which Sahayb discussed violent extremist beliefs. Commander Richard Smith, head of the Met's counter-terrorism command, said he is an extremely dangerous individual, but thanks to the efforts of counter-terrorism officers in MI5, he will now spend a considerable amount of time behind bars where he poses no risk to public safety, apart from trying to convert and radicalise other prisoners who could be coming up for release, just like he did when he obviously got radicalised as well whilst in there. And 4 months after his release, he went on to nearly commit some very serious murders it would have been if he got away with it, if he wasn't speaking to an undercover in the chat group. So that individual, not even 4 months in the segregation unit after the attacks on the prison officers by Hasham Abedi, wins an appeal. I'm going to go over the appeal right now. So today, Mr. Justice Sheldon, horrible man, Mr. Justice Sheldon, handed down judgment finding in favour of Mr. Abu on each of his 5 grounds of judicial review. It says Mr. Abu, but for the purpose of this video, I'm going to call him Abu. He's not getting his full title from me, not when he was trying to kill innocent members of the UK. Abu challenged the lawfulness of the Secretary of State's repeated decisions to segregate him following an attack on prison officers by another prisoner on the 12th of April 2025. Since then, that is, for a period of 220 days. Mr. Abu, it did say, 4 months, but it is obviously a little bit longer than that. But Mr. Abu, together with all prisoners held in separation centres across England and Wales, has been held in conditions amounting to solitary confinement. Well, obviously, because of the explanations I've just give, trying to radicalise other inmates. So, what do they expect? Describing these conditions, Judge Sheldon, accepted that for the majority of that period, the claimant has not been able to associate with any other prisoner in any meaningful sense. Well, what is meaningful for him? Radicalising the other inmates. Whilst it has been possible for him to speak or shout to others from his cell, he has not been able to talk with other prisoners face to face or with any privacy. He has not been able to walk alongside, touch or share active experience with them, such as exercising together or praying together. Judge Sheldon held that the impact on Abu of the segregation regime was so severe that this outweighed by some margin the rationale for the regime. As a result, it violated both Articles 3 and 8 of the European Convention on Human Rights. Well, what about the human rights of the UK citizens that he was going to end the lives of? It's absolute fucking bullshit, this. If an extremist, if a terrorist is going to commit these type of atrocities, their human rights should go out the fucking window. What a soft pussy fucking country the UK, not just one country, the whole of the UK has become. Judge Sheldon also found that the decisions to segregate Abu were unlawful because they were not in reality taken by the prison governor contrary to legal requirements of Rule 45 prison rules, but were taken by the Secretary of State, breached the Thameside duty of inquiry because no rational decision maker could have failed to obtain a psychiatric assessment of Mr. Abu before imposing prolonged rolling periods of solitary confinement, contravened the public sector equality duty, and were procedurally, I can't even say that word, unfair, as Abu was never shown even a gist of the intelligence material used against him. Well, why should he? Why should he? He shouldn't see fucking jack shit apart from darkness inside of a cell. The decision is significant as it marks a rare finding by a domestic court that the conditions in which a prisoner has been held amount to cruel, inhumane and degrading treatment. Well, what treatment can a terrorist expect? Let me know what you lot think watching this. Do you think a terrorist should be held in humane and non-degrading treatment in violation of Article 3 of the European Court of Human Rights? Mr. Justice Sheldon observed that Abu's suffering goes way beyond the inevitable element of suffering that is connected with segregation. So what about all these other prisoners I've just spoke about that are held down there who aren't terrorists, who haven't plotted to fucking do anything to the prison officers, haven't threatened the establishment, haven't threatened to disrupt the prison system? They're just sticking up for themselves because they've got Rick with the Muslims and the Brotherhood who are inside the high security estate, who want to inflict injuries on them. Why aren't these housed away together to give them fair treatment? But yet they do it with these prisoners. They try to radicalise the other inmates, so they say, right, we'll put you all together out the way so you can radicalise each other even more. Why don't these prisoners that are held down there through no fault of their own get housed on a separate fucking house block that isn't a VP, because they wouldn't go on VPs? Why don't they house them on a separate house block like they've done with the fucking ones on the separation centre? It's just beggars belief. It's absolutely ludicrous. So when something happens on the separation centre, which you can expect, put them all into the blocks, into the segregation units, to try and find out what's been going on and see whether or not they pose a threat. That's the reason why they've been put there. And obviously there's intelligence material in the saying that he should have been shown it. And he's took it to court. And he's won it. So now that he's won that, he will be took out of the segregation unit. So then where they're going to put him back on normal location so he can then go on to radicalise the other inmates. Absolutely fucking ludicrous. But that's why I brought this story on today, because obviously it has popped up a few times, and this is off 2 weeks ago, this article. But I've come back to it because there is a couple of people asking us about it as well, and saying, how can that be fucking right that a terrorist has actually won his appeal against these conditions? I know I've said it again before, I'm going to say it again. Terrorists should not have human rights when they land inside a prison. If you're in prison for trying to kill endless amounts of innocent citizens, people who have got nothing to do with fucking government politics and all that shit, just ordinary people, women, children, anyone who's innocent on the streets, we're going to get maimed and murdered by this individual. He should not have any rights whatsoever. Put him in a dungeon and leave him, because he's going to carry on with his fucked up ideology and try and hurt and maim as many people as possible, the same as Sahayb Abu done. But I just think that is absolutely ludicrous. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments, people. Let us know exactly what you think. I've got a sneaky feeling that you'll all feel exactly the same as what I do, that he shouldn't have any sort of humane treatment whatsoever. And as for the other absolute wrong'un, Sahayb Abu, who was sent down to HMP Belmarsh, like I mentioned, they've sent him down there, and what happens not long after he's there? That other wrong'un, Axel Ruda Cabana, attacked the prison officers. Doesn't take a genius to work these things out, does it? But I am going to be doing some more updated videos on that wrong'un as well, because a lot of people have been asking. There was a lot of things flying around about a week or two back that Axel Ruda Cabana was attacked. It is absolute bullshit, but I have got a couple of bits of info that I have received about that little wrong'un, so keep an eye out. I will be doing a video on that, and as usual, people, I will leave that one there for now. But as usual, people, if you are enjoying the content, remember to comment, like and subscribe, but most importantly, stay safe.